So I just saw the trailer for Insomniac's Wolverine game and I'm excited as hell for it. It looks like it's going to be a very good and fun game to play. But that got me thinking back to a time when we used to be getting full-on superhero games with all the features, plots and gameplay on our phones. That's right, I'm talking about those superhero games that were made on Java. I remember them so vividly and clearly because I used to play them all the time. And at the time, I'd have to say that they were better than their console counterparts. So that's what I'm gonna cover today. So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, be sure to subscribe so that the channel can grow and I can make a Minecraft server and involve you. But enjoy the video, like, and tell me if you ever did play any of these Java superhero games. So the first thing I want to talk about is how these games were better. What exactly made them stand out so much and be so memorable for me? To me back then, it used to be like magic. I mean, imagine playing the Avengers game on your phone and it being so close to the movie you were watching. It blew my little mind. And I'd say that today I'm even more impressed at how they were able to make these games and compact everything into a complete game that, in my experience and knowledge, was never buggy when I used to play the game. I have to say, from my remembrance, the games were actually pretty well made. Then what's even more impressive is that these Java phones back in the day were extremely limited in their storage and processing power. At max they used to have like 128 MB of RAM and storage too, which forced developers to really be near perfect when making a game that can run on it and still be a fully functional and fun game for us to play. I feel like that limitation of technology really forced the developers of these superhero games to really think outside the box and get creative with how they want their games to turn out and how their players will experience it. So this meant that the game devs couldn't really bloat the game or have filler content in the game that takes away from the core experience of the game. And this was a time before ads plagued mobile games and freemium became widespread. There was a lot less stuff that could suck money from you. But anyways, the limitations also made it harder to make these games the vast and empty open world games that we have right now. So the games were a lot more linear and story focused, which looking back I loved because I remember wanting so bad in those games to just be left free and go into the open world as my favorite hero and fight crimes and such. But realistically, what actually would I be able to do? I think if they were open world, they'd be very boring and empty games with no real objective to feel that satisfaction of being a hero and playing in a fully fleshed out world. That's why I think the games being linear are so good, because what you see is what you get and what you're getting is pretty damn good, if I'm being honest. So I can't really hate on them because they were fun as hell. No unnecessary cutscenes or forced tutorials, which I absolutely loathe. It's just you and the game and its story. And speaking of the story, another thing I really absolutely enjoyed about these games was how closely they followed the story of the movies that they were based on and how they used to come out alongside the movies as well. In fact, I think that's why I ever even got into superheroes so much, because sometimes if I wasn't able to watch a new movie that came out, I just go play one of these games and see what happened, because it was basically the same. But also some of the other Java games also deviated and also had games based on comics too. So I think that's also how I started getting into comics as well, because it was usually like one volume of a comic made into a Java game and I wanted to see more of the story, so I just looked for where I could find more. What I'm saying though is that for me these games were like lifesavers and really helped build my interest in superheroes and movies and just a lot of stuff that I enjoy today. They weren't the lazy movie tie-in games we got back then. They used to actually be enjoyable and even added in more content for us to play that wasn't even in the movies, which made them all that more unique to play. And especially for me, because when I finally did go to watch the movies, I'd wait for maybe the stuff I saw in the games to show up, but they never did, and I used to be so confused on why, but now I know. But these truly did a surprisingly good job of adapting the movies into a game form, and especially for Java and how limited they were. It was great. It made you feel like you're walking around with a part of the movie in your pocket. The other thing that I really enjoyed about these games was that despite the limitations that they had, the devs were still able to have each game feel different and have a variety of gameplay so that it doesn't get boring. Each of the superhero games had a very distinct style which fit the hero we were playing as. For instance, Iron Man games had us with flying mechanics and shooting too, mixed in with a bit of hand-to-hand combat. Spiderman games often were web-swinging side-scroller games, and Batman games used to be stealth and combat focused, giving us the biggest parts of how these heroes fight and just letting us play like them. Then there was also this one Avengers game I remember when the Avengers movie came out, which incorporated all aspects of the Avengers and how they would play play and fight. The game gave each one Avenger sections where we could play as them as we progressed through the story. We had Iron Man sections with the flying and blasters and hand-to-hand combat. We also had Captain America with hand-to-hand combat and also throwing the shield, which was my favorite, and Thor with his lightning powers and the hammer, the Hulk being super strong,
and the rest are nobodies. The Phoenix Suns have and the rest are nobodies.
and it was all very fun too. The games weren't just plain reskins of each other, they were actually different and tailored to the stories of the movies and powers of each heroes, and was just very huge for them at the time. And the other thing that really made these games so wonderful for me was how accessible they were also. I remember, and I don't know if this was a pirate site or what, but it was these two websites called Waptrick and Wapdam which hosted all these Java games and other types of apps that were built on the Java base, and that's where I used to go to download all these games and all the other games I used to play. And they didn't really take up that much space, but in retrospect, back then it used to be a lot more space because the phones were a lot more smaller and couldn't handle a lot. But looking back, they were very instantly accessible, which I think just made them all the more popular and memorable for me. The games were also just pick up and play, no long loading screens or needing to download an update or any of that other nonsense that other games have today. You just click the game, continue from where you left off. The whole game is already on your phone. No need for patches or anything else. Just simply enjoy the game with minimum hassle. And that ability of being able to just immediately get into a game made the games more fun because there was no or very little barrier between wanting to play the game and actually being in the game and playing it. Another thing I want to touch on is the timing of these games when they were coming out. Well, obviously they were being released close to when the movies were also being released, which allowed them to also ride that wave of popularity of the movies they were coming out with alongside, which made them feel a lot more popular than they actually were. And it also helped that during this time as well, that the surge and explosion of superheroes in pop culture was also really starting to happen, and a lot more people wanted to see more superhero content and things like that to engage with as they were becoming more mainstream and more popular for everyone to be into superheroes now. So with these Java games, they felt like they just fit right in with a wave of explosion happening at the same time, which also got them shared around by people who wanted to play superhero games on their phones and kids who are interested in superheroes. And I think that connection, along with the cultural shift that was happening, really allowed for the games to stick in my mind and many others and just leave a lasting impact that really made them unforgettable. And as for today, modern superhero games on mobile and even some on consoles have been drowned in each and every way to monetize it, like in the Injustice 2 mobile game, Marvel Strike Force, and a bunch of other games where you spend hella money on upgrading cards, grinding to unlock new heroes to play with, and not really having depth in gameplay to keep us engaged. And the soul of these games got sucked out the same way Shang Tsung was sucking everyone else in Mortal Kombat. These games aren't made for fun anymore, but rather they're designed for retention rates and getting money from you while you play. The games feel so dull and boring nowadays, and I'd also accredit that to how oversaturated the genre has become too, because everywhere you look you'll find a superhero game on the App Store from big companies or indie solo devs trying to make it, and the quality has really fallen very much, which stings much more. Whereas with the Java games, you get what you paid for or didn't pay for, nothing more, nothing less. It was just the full game for you to play and experience in all of its glory. So with me looking back at all this, I realized that these games left a sort of hidden legacy that really became the backbone for mobile gaming and their development. Some of the devs from these games went on to work for bigger studios and make better games, and these games really left a mark of quality that still, and I'm saying this with my chest puffed all the way out, and the confidence I have hasn't been reached again in however many years it has been. But that's all I have to say for Java superhero games. Thank you all for tuning in and watching the video. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like, comment, and tell me if you've ever played one of these games, and be sure to subscribe so that you can be first to new videos and also join and grow this little niche community we have going on over here. So again, thank you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. So bye.